Hello everyone, I have here the LEGO Icons Eldorado Fortress, the 2023 version, and I bought this for $215 US and then built it live, half and half between my old JANG Bricks channel on YouTube and over on my Twitch channel. This set comes with 8 minifigures and a monkey, and it's impossible to talk about this in any way, shape, or form without first recognizing exactly what the set is. It is a remake of the same named set from 1989, Eldorado Fortress, from the original Pirates line, which I previously reviewed on this channel. And it also includes one other thing from one other set from back in the day, from the Imperial Trading Post set in 1992. Just a few years later, it includes this boat, or a remake of the boat. This is entirely a remake, but it is very, very closely based on the original material. The biggest difference is that the original set relied heavily upon a single, large, molded, one-piece raised base plate that was 32 by 32 on its base, but then added this extra height. And they just don't make those anymore. LEGO has been trying for many years to get away from making base plates at all, and they've not made the raised ones in quite a long time. And instead, for this set, they have you actually build stuff up using LEGO pieces and regular building techniques, in a much significantly more LEGO way, which cynics would say just inflates the part count and thus inflates the price of it. However, in reality, having that genuine LEGO building experience to create the base also allows for not only that good feeling of putting something together, but a lot more stuff that can be done with that space, because the base plate, again, it was just one single piece that was effectively just a shell. You couldn't do anything other than build on top of it. This gives you room to build inside of it as well. Like this little cave here, little cove inside, some water is coming out. There's a connection to that. You can see some connection points around the base of this, which I will show you what that's about. And there's just generally better integration between the edges and the inner portions of this. They even have a traditional style of one on this side and a couple on the other side of the palm trees with the original style of leaves, but they don't have the original flexible style of trunks for those anymore. The building for the building itself is very different because they do use some studs on the side construction now. They're not using or not relying upon, like the original one, prints to get little bits of extra detail where plaster is coming off the sides. You're able to get a lot more interesting shaping in there. You got plenty of room to rotate the cannon around. The cannon does actually shoot. It's got a little mechanism in there. And crucially, over here on the ramp, which was one of the most memorable features, in my opinion, of the original set and other sets based on that same base plate mold, this now allows for figures to be attached. The old one just had this straight ramp and it was just smooth. So you could grab a figure and have somebody marching up there, but if you let go of them, they're just going to fall. Whereas this one actually gives you the ability to just have them stand at any point. Of course, if you have just one leg in a bent position, they can make it look like they're walking right up there, and you can do that in a bunch of spots. That's fantastic. Also, the way that this here is built is wonderful. It's very simple. It's just hinged. It's attached with clips at the top and the bottom, but it fits in there perfectly. There's almost no gap down here at the base. There's almost no gap up here at the top. And crucially, there's almost no gap around the side, even though this has some interesting shaping around it. And, this just ends up looking nice. So I think that a lot of the modern techniques and modern pieces have allowed this to be built much better than the original, which is not an easy thing to say because, old school is good school. Definitely, this is all based on, derived from nostalgia. It's a big old nostalgia bait piece, but they have been able to take significant advantage of modern techniques and parts to allow this to ultimately be better. We've got a couple of spots. I think the original one had just 2 gun emplacements up here for point defense. Just a couple of long muskets are attached up there rather than, to protect the main office, I guess. And the door here, rather than the original one, which had just a single piece door, this is actually built up. So you use plates and clip pieces and bar pieces, modified parts to fit that in there. And the window here, this is actually built up with some studs on the side, construction and everything. And then you get all the way up to the top, have another one of these cannons. These cannons can be moved around if you want to. Oh, this is a print. Thankfully, there are no stickers in this set whatsoever. I thought that the original set used stickers for this, but it didn't. This is just almost exactly the same. It's printed on both sides. Good quality too. Nicely done. Here's what this looks like from the other side. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of space up here to put figures. That is definitely a miss in this. For the most part, this has pretty good accommodation for figures to be standing around in different places, but some of the spots are just a little bit too tight. Like even right in here, it's difficult to get somebody to be standing like at that edge. That doesn't really work. You have to have somebody sideways, or maybe get them just a little bit in so that one arm can be slightly inside of the interior space. Got another cannon back here for defense around the back. The Parrot is not the original mold, but it's close to it. It was an updated version that they did. They changed to not too many years ago, but this is one of the more common color schemes now that they have for those. The interior of the office space, as I'm calling it, is really, really simple. It's got a map there, you got a candle, and then you just got an inkwell off to the side. That's it. So there's not a whole lot going on with that, unfortunately. Back here, again, you got the two palm trees. Access to this upper space is via a ladder over here. I tried to think about that a little bit. There's a key on the side there for some sort of cell of some sort. Space in the middle for minifig accessories, and also space for some eating to go on. Now I'll open this up a little bit more so that you'll be able to see what's going on, but I wanted you to see this first in its default form. Again, around the side, back here, this is actually nicely integrated in. Again, very few gaps to get the overhang, the little bits of roof there. The top does have enough space to put minifigures around, so that's plenty generous. They can be posed in several different spots around. That's good. And just generally, this does use a lot of little pieces, but in the end, the texture feels appropriate to me. The amount of effort that goes into building most of this, and again, you have access going up the side, the amount of effort that goes into building most of this feels appropriate to the end result, to me. It's a lot. It's a lot of pieces. It's a heck of a lot more pieces than the original, but it doesn't feel like I'm wasting time as I go through this. Now, this is actually a holding cell, and there's a gate, or a grated door over here, like an iron door. It's a little bit difficult to get access to that, so I'll have to show you how this looks with things open up a little bit. But the last major thing to look at here is the turreted crane. Now, this is significantly larger than the one that it represents from the original set, but it's not as big as I thought. From looking at the photographs, the official pictures, I thought that this was crazy oversized, but it's actually not. And it doesn't take that much time to build. It doesn't take that many pieces. It's actually a fairly efficient build. It's also pretty original, or pretty accurate, I think, for its time. Maybe the overall proportions back here, maybe it needed to have a little bit of suggestion of counterweight. Might have been a little bit better, but this is nice and smooth. You do have to tie the string at one end. The other end, you don't have to. I don't like tying Lego strings, but this just allows you. This has really good range of motion, lets you get all around. You can drop stuff down in the middle of the space, so you can pick things up from a ship that comes up to the dock, and then you can drop things off here. Kind of wish that this would move a little bit faster, but it's nice and smooth. So it does its job. And this is a cradle here, so the treasure chest with the modern style of top on it, which is just flat, that they're going with, can be just taken out separately easily. It doesn't really fully integrate in with the crane. And inside of here, well, just a couple of flintlock pistols. No more of the old coins, unfortunately. Would have been nice to get some treasure inside the treasure chest, huh? Now, before I proceed any farther, it is time for me to start opening things up and to show you the true magic and real value, honestly, of this set, especially compared to the original. So you've seen some seams along this, and the entire thing is actually, I keep forgetting exactly where it's intended to separate, but most of it is pretty safe. Everything is connected with the clip and bar system, and the whole thing is built in sub-assemblies. Look at this. Wait for it. Look at that. So now let's look inside at some of the additional features that are hidden in what previously was just a shell, an empty plastic single piece base. First of all, at the entry with everything opened up, you can see accommodations for minifig accessories at the normal levels a little bit better. And you can also see there's a little bit of fire underneath the stove here. Nice small detail, but this is a cellar area. So you can store stuff down there. There's a barrel which has some stuff inside of it. It's got a top on it. And here, now we're starting to see some of the treasure, right? That's what was missing. So you got some doubloons here, a stack of, I think it was 4 of them in that. As you move over to the next section, some storage for some drink. There's some storage up above as well. This one is empty in its default form. I just want to show you exactly what all you get here. This one is also empty. I don't think it's intended to be access. I think it's supposed to be just part of the whole tap system down here. But then the next area over has yet another chest, and you can see some gold bars right there. There's a suggestion of a ladder inside, and the access is from above. So this is like not necessarily a trap door in this case, but just a floor-based access hatch. You know, it's not trying to hide itself away from you or anything. And then inside of here are 2 more of those molded pearl gold colored ingots. Now this corner over here has the prison or jail cell, and I can actually open up the next section here that has the crane on it. So this can be pulled out, and underneath you can see a skeleton. Now that looks to be a pirate who I'm going to assume is somebody who used to be locked up in here and tried to escape by tunneling down, but never made their way out of the island because there's just no room for them to get out. So they got stuck in this very constrained space. And well, that was the end of them. They were probably believed escaped and never thought of again. If there was a hole that was found, it was probably filled. But if that hole was not found, it is the exact same one that ultimately was tunneled in a different way by later folks to get locked up in here to get access to this. So there are a couple ways that you can successfully break out of this imprisonment here. First of all, the side, if you get help from outside, somebody can come along and help to tear the wall out. So that's one thing you can do. Also for us huge figures, well, we also get access from the top to let us just see down inside of there a little bit better and to be able to put figures in there more effectively. There's just basic straw bedding and some wooden planks in there as accommodations, but here you can see how beneath those planks, prisoners have used this area for digging down in the past. And again, either it wasn't found or it was filled in and believed to be safe and secure again, and somebody else found it later on. And now that can be used for a figure to just pop right down and slide out down here and swim away. There's still more to be seen underneath the main surface level of all of this. So this center section here, which has the dining accommodations, now you can see that a little bit more clearly with just the 4 little stools there and plenty of stuff on a small table. This does have a proper trap door there that could potentially be accessed from outside or from below. You know, somebody just popping this up to get in. Or it could also be used from above where it becomes a proper, like I said, trapdoor. There's just a mechanism under here. You just slide it and then this falls down. That gets you access into the seaweed covered watery space, which is a little bit, you have to use your imagination a little bit. Like how do you get access to the water when it's all on the inside? You have to is there like an underwater tunnel cave area that you could actually swim through? Have to think about that a little bit. I will note that these pieces here that first came out with the minifig scale Bionicle sets have been remolded to a new type of plastic, a newer type of plastic that's very flexible. They used to hurt to hold on to them and to use them, and they were actually a little bit fragile. They're not anymore. So that's nice. It shows that they're going to continue to make these, hopefully in other colors as well, but they're more flexible now. That was a nice little surprise. And once again, this set, has genuine building techniques used for all of the terrain stuff. No big ugly rock pieces are used in this whatsoever, not even little ugly rock pieces. And look at the piers, these are actually built up nicely. And then there's one other thing to see over here. So once again, more nice building, textured building for rock faces and everything, but there's a little hidden thing right here. So another small bit of storage, and if I just pull that out, inside of here, you can find a letter. Now, what does that letter represent? Who wrote it? How long ago was it put there? We don't know. Some stories can be made up to connect to the original Eldorado Fortress. Some new stories can be made up, or you can change out the contents entirely and put some extra treasure down there if you want. Speaking of extra treasure, not relying upon a single monolithic base plate allowed for this. This completely transforms the feel, the shape, the size, and the playability of this set, giving you access to all of the exterior spaces plus all of the interior spaces without having to do a rebuild. So this is not an alternate build of the set. It's just taking those large components that I was showing you individually before and putting them together in a different official way. So anywhere you have these clips and bars, you can take stuff off and put it on differently. This does have a limited number of those in its default build of each of those sections. But I think that they give you a pretty decent range. And even just this right here, I think, provides a tremendous amount of additional value without doing any actual rebuild. So I didn't remove any parts here. I just took those constituent sub-assemblies that I showed you up to this point and put them together in a different way. Now, this is officially the sprawl format of the set. You can put them together in some other configurations as well, but I think this is the most effective here. And it shows you why, even on the inner spaces, they still invest parts to have some shaping for rock work and such. Like this here kind of represents just a cove. You can imagine this being a slightly inland port area where ships would be able to come up, maybe larger ships would be able to come up and dock in here, although you don't have a whole lot of length, but it is potentially a feasible, sorry about the squeak there, feasible idea to have something come in and then just hang out at this space rather than only on the front. It really makes us into a full 360-degree experience and 360-degree play set, as opposed to just a look at it from one camera-friendly angle sort of 18+ set. It doesn't really come across as a display only set, I think, at all. It definitely has that Lego play charm like it should, but this just adds so much more to that, I think. Exposing the taller dock, this pier here, to the outside is also crucial for compatibility with larger ships like this. See, otherwise it's even more of a mismatch and you got to use the ladder on the side of the boat and it's at an angle and it just kind of doesn't work. A small rowboat, though, can come right up to the lower dock, and potentially you could use that for transferring things back and forth to a larger ship if you have one from a different set. But here, the rowboat that is included is for the pirates to attack the place or maybe try to break out one of their own from the jail. This does have a printed flag on the back of it on two sides, and the color here is just dark brown. That's it. Also, the trading ship that's included in the set works just fine with the higher level dock in its fully compacted form, either on the side or anywhere here on the front. This boat is nice, again, based on the one from Imperial Trading Post from 1992. This uses a little bit of rigging that does not require any tying of string at the ends. It just has the studded end pieces on it. Could have used some shrouds coming down the side, I think, to help complete the look. But again, this is very, very similar to the one that it's based off. I think it's just a bit bigger and has a completely different build, even though outwardly it looks quite the same. You're able to change the point of sail a little bit. These are adjustable because they're on Mixel's ball joints, which is nice. This is like the cloth, they're papery cloth kind of material, like older capes were made from. So a little bit Yeah, just a little bit crinkly, but still a lot better than vinyl. This is a decent print on there. Got a couple of, they actually set it up facing the correct way for a change. The flag's at the top of the mast, and this has a pretty decent amount of usable space in it as well for its size. You know, it stays down pretty close to the water. You got the typewriter Porsche fender pieces used to good effect here on the front. Rounded off towards the back of the transom a little bit. You can change the angle of the rudder slightly. And then you've got the wheel there, suggestion of a telescope, and just space to put people and or cargo. And this is a durable enough build. Everybody asks, is it able to float? It might be able to float for a very short amount of time, but it's not intended to float by any means. It's definitely going to be way too top heavy, and it's not sealed in any way, shape, or form. So do not expect it to float. That is not its intent. That it's not its design. If you are able to get it to float, great. You can ultimately get anything to float, even a rock, if you set it up right. But yeah, this one's just for land use, just for looks. But it's good, I think, for what it is. I think it's very good. Looking at some minifigures, a lot of folks would put most of the focus here on connecting these characters to the characters from the original set from 1989, which was the designer's intent, but then the same folks will often complain when LEGO has like named characters included in sets from LEGO City Adventures and such. So I'm just going to leave all that alone and say these are minifigures that are appropriate to the set. They're inspired by the original designs and intended to be compatible with them. However, the white color for the print on all of these is not good. It's pale. It leaves like a baby blue color. It's intended to be white. It is 100% intended to be white. If you like the look of it, that's great. You like the fact that the quality of printing is poor, thereby unintentionally giving you a look that you like. That's cool, but this is poor quality printing. LEGO itself can do better. They do better than that whenever they feel like it, whenever they're willing to pay for it. They've done it plenty of times. Aftermarket manufacturers can do it. Privateers can do it. It is a known thing. Printing white on blue is not that big of a deal. They can do it, and they've just chosen not to. And that's unfortunate, because I think that LEGO should always make things the color that they're supposed to be. Here are some lower ranking regular soldiers, and with this first one, I've left the hand in its standard form, and then with the other two, I've turned the hand around the way that you're supposed to get the muskets to be shouldered up nice and close. And I'm thankful that LEGO has officially, in a 2023 set, shown that reversing of the hand, and that's an intended design, the way that works, because then I can point at that and say that's the way that LEGO said to do it. In the past, when I've done exactly that with some figures for some poses and things, I've gotten just so much hate from commenters insisting that I have committed a cardinal sin and I am an absolute idiot who knows nothing about anything. It's just flipping a hand around, and this just allows the accessory to fit in tighter. Here are the last two from the pirate side of things. That's a really nice print for this torso, and thankfully it's against white, and it's very difficult to get printing against white wrong. They still manage to do it sometimes, but over here with the yellow against the white, that's also done well. They've messed that up in the past, but this one actually is done properly. It's not too thin, so all this works out just fine. Would have been great to get some arm printing on the side of this character as well. You know, because I feel like it should be in universe would be a named known character, but what is printed there is pretty good. I already showed you the token parrot from this set, and here's the monkey. Unfortunately, yeah, this is how monkeys are now. They're much happier than they used to be. Really nice printing that's dual molded there as well to get the really sharp flesh tone or skin tone for it, but no articulation whatsoever, and just far fewer things that you can do with this than with the old ones. Definitely scales much better to minifigs than the old ones, and looks much more cheerful, I'll say. Finally, these are the leftover parts, and there are plenty of them, especially good ones like extra weapons of all sorts, an extra key, extra epaulets in the two different colors, extra flame and plume and tuft pieces. Yeah, some good usable stuff here. Really quickly looking at the new set and the old set side by side. I'll do this more in a separate video, but I had to be sure to cover it at least briefly here. So you can see that this is not in any way, shape, or form a loosely inspired by situation. It is a 100% directly based upon situation. They did make some changes here in order to make it more useful, to be able to get more out of it, especially with that sprawl form option that I showed you without having to do any full rebuilds. The old one was easier to rebuild with because it had fewer pieces, and more of those pieces, a higher percentage of the pieces are just very, very simple. But there's still a lot that you can do with this as well. And very much, this is not a collector only, 18 plus only, for adults set. This is a toy just like with the Barracuda Bay. They did this right. You see this, the overall general sizes are the same, just a little bit of extension here. They did this right, making it a good toy for 2023. And it would have been a good toy in 1989 as well if they had the pieces available. Obviously, you've got the old style of tree over there, tree trunk pieces, which are not made anymore. They've not been made for a very long time. That is why they've not used them here. But I personally think that if you're not too heavily affected by nostalgia, you'll be just fine with the fact that you can change the angles of these here. They can bend around a little bit, and I think they work out just fine. But looking around this side here shows you just how plain and simple this single monolithic base plate piece is, and underscores the fact that you can't do anything with it other than just build on top of it. This did have the little pit in the middle, but otherwise all this stuff here, let me make sure, hopefully I'm not going to make anything fall off. But yeah, all that, see, can't do anything with all of that, with any of that, compared to the newer one that makes use of almost all of that space for alternate play possibilities and display possibilities. This was very nice for its day. Lots of folks have tremendous nostalgia for it, which is great. But ultimately, LEGO has just done a significantly better thing here with the new one. It's not even close, in my opinion. So price and value wise, again, I paid $215 US for this. It is 215 euros, 190 pounds UK, 280 Canadian, which translates to approximately 211 US dollars, a little bit over that. I personally feel like what's in front of me here is worth about as much as a modular building would be today. Modular buildings are up in the over $200 range now. So relative to other things on the market, this feels pretty right. I think that modular buildings themselves are overpriced. I would love to see all of these things be, even in 2023, down in the 170 to 180 range. That's where I would like to be with this. But, you know, this does not have the vertical presence, I think, of most of the modular buildings, but there's a lot more density down here, down at the base. And you feel that density when you're building it. You know, you experience that, you experience the number of pieces, you experience the build process for it, and you know that it's there. And then you also have this over here on the side that you have to account for as far as like volume of stuff. Now, the most interesting thing in terms of comparison of price and value is looking at the original Eldorado Fortress. We know that its original retail price in 1989 was $66 US. You run the math, run it through an inflation calculator, it takes you to approximately $162 US today. For its 509 pieces? 506 pieces. Same number of minifigures. No ability to reconfigure it to the degree that you can reconfigure this, and no decent sized boat on the sides either. For $162. Now, I would like to see this valued at $25. If LEGO sold this as a set, probably with a couple of minifigures, they'd probably sell it for like $35 or something. I'm going to give it $25 worth of value. So you add that to the $162, $167, $187. We're just under $190 US. Compared to this at $215, but you get so much more with this. I mean, we're right there. We're right there. It's within a touchable distance. So when we look and, you know, we talk about back in the day, you know, LEGO used to have so much more value, or LEGO is artificially inflating the prices by forcing this completely unnecessary brick-built base when it could have been just one piece. It would have saved so much money because it's one piece, because, you know, price to part ratio is consistent, right? A 1x1 cylinder costs the same as a raised base plate because it's just one part, right? And it's just 10 cents a piece. That's how simple life really is. No, it's not. You see all these arguments out there, but the reality is Lego has always been very expensive. It has always been expensive. It's always been a premium European toy. It's not to say that it's invalid to complain that things are really, really expensive today. And we definitely, I think we got really spoiled. One way to look at it is that we got spoiled up to a few years ago. Another way to look at it is just things became more reasonably priced, right? They were overpriced and became more reasonably priced as price to part ratios continue to either come down or at least stay stable while inflation just continued doing its thing. And then in the past few years, prices have shot back up again. Plus, Lego's been releasing more and more and more of these very expensive sets, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 plus dollar sets. The stuff that it has a psychological effect on us when we see it all. But when we compare the reality of where we are today to where we were back in the good old days, prime Lego, late 80s, early 90s, when they were doing the minifigs compatible stuff, just about as best they've ever done in my old eyes, in my nostalgia biased opinion. We're in a really good place today. We're still very lucky, even though it's very expensive. So that's my overall feeling on it. Most importantly, what is here is good. If you're okay with the price of this, I think that if you buy the set, when you build it, you will like it so much more than you do already. If you're not okay with the price, I understand that. I'm with you. Again, I would like to see this be cheaper. Will it ever go on sale? Possibly. I mean, we saw Galaxy Explorer on sale all dang day. We even saw some discounts on Barracuda Bay from time to time. So it's possible that this will get discounted as well. I also think that this has a little bit less pull, less market draw than perhaps Barracuda Bay did. And I don't know what the ratio is between classic space fans or space fans in general and Pirates fans. I'm not sure. So yeah, maybe we'll get some discounts. That would be great. But again, most importantly, fantastic set. So much better than I personally thought it would be. Somebody who's not a big Pirates fan. I thought the original set was charming, good for its day and everything, but this is just so much better. It's ridiculous how much better it is, especially once you bring it all together. It just makes sense. So I'm happy with it. Hope that you're happy with this video. Thank you for watching. Even if you disagree with my personal opinions about whether it's good or bad or about its value, I hope that I've at least provided some value to you here by showing you the stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.